Yo, it's been a while, guys, but we can delay no longer. I have to put out a video. It's been a long time. I've had a lot going on in my life, guys. Just like back-to-back things that have made it more difficult for me to stay on top of things and give you guys the quality crypto reporting that you deserve. But I'm back as we start to catch up on what is going on here on the show. So let's kind of cover what's going on in the world of Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptocurrency developments, and as usual, it's a lot, especially since I haven't done my last video in a while. So I'll cover kind of like the main themes that are going through everybody's heads, which is right now, fears of a recession seems to be the primary thing that is driving markets down. So you're going to see the Dow Jones has shed over 200 points today. We've seen continual drops in cryptocurrency as well. We have Ethereum and Bitcoin down on the week quite a bit, including on the day. They're both down about 4% on the day, but on the week you have Bitcoin down about 4.5% and about 5.5% for Ethereum, if I have my numbers right on that one. But yeah, it's been a situation where people are beginning to get concerned because, like, with Bitcoin at 56,000, we're actually about 55,800 while I'm making this video. There are those who are saying, like Bitfinex, who the exchange yesterday wrote in their blog post that they felt like it would be totally normal, looking at how Bitcoin has moved in prior cycles, to see that we would have this huge drawdown in the price that would take us down another 20% to perhaps 20 to 30% to perhaps another $50,000 Bitcoin, which is being seen as quite a strong support, or really the last level of support before potentially dropping down into the 40,000s. And for a lot of speculators in the cryptocurrency, especially the Bitcoin markets, they wonder what is going to be the thing that is going to drive some sort of new retail average person wave into cryptocurrency. Because we had seen in past cycles that when we got these explosions in price for Bitcoin and everything else, it usually came because you could not listen to the radio, stand anywhere, eat at a restaurant without hearing people talk about cryptocurrencies and buying them. And what are you into? Like, it's just everywhere you go. I know I witnessed that in each cycle in different ways, up until around 2020, when I feel like, especially during COVID, you definitely saw less of that. But yeah, what will be the thing that will drive a lot of retail in? Because with Bitcoin and Ethereum, we now have these ETFs. And in fact, we're seeing, for example, with Ethereum, we're maybe just dropping and dropping because of outflows outside of some of these ETFs versus having inflows into the ETFs. Right now with Bitcoin, the record number of days in a row with outflows from these exchange traded funds is, the record is 7 days continually of outflows. And right now today, we would be at 6 days of outflows if it continues how it's going. And tomorrow would be the 7th day if it outflows again, and then anything from there would be a new record. So people are trying to look for the hope, that hopium. Why do I hold on when we have ETFs? We have these products. What is bigger than having these ETFs? This was supposed to be the thing that was driving a lot of folks into cryptocurrencies. And others are pointing out, these are relatively new things. Take a look at gold. When these ETFs launched for gold, it was about a 10-year period before you really started to see those returns. And I similarly think it will be something that plays out over a long period of time. We had spoken about how it could have been very likely that these ETFs would be sell the news moments. We also have to consider the huge amounts of Bitcoin that have been divvied out from the Mt. Gox hack. Finally, people are getting what they have been due, and it's going to take time for people to really, I guess, distribute what they want with those Bitcoin, whether they're going to be selling or holding on to them. Likely we're seeing, because of these recession fears, this AI bubble that could potentially be popping as returns are not nearly catching up to the investment into them. Fears around that. Tomorrow, right, the jobs report, or we're going to see the labor numbers, and if it's that the case here in the United States, we're seeing less jobs be created, and that looking negative, that could be a sign that the Federal Reserve would have to consider lowering rates. And that's a lot of what, at least 41% according to the Fed's tools, 41% of the bets are basically that they're going to be lowering rates by 25 basis points, 25 to 50 basis points on the next meeting, which is in about 13 days. So it's going to be on September 18th. And what they decide to do, I think the market is going to kind of figure out based on these numbers that start in like tomorrow with the labor, with the CPI numbers as well, with core inflation, what the Fed is going to do. But I see the number down more, but I remember that September was kind of locked in for when they were going to be supposedly lowering rates and having a number of other interest rate drops towards the end of the year. So I don't know what has changed right now that perhaps has it at the chance of 59% that they keep rates up at 500 to 525 basis points as they are right now. But this is kind of what's got people feeling a little bit more protective. If a recession were to happen, you see the housing market decline, people do lose imaginary value, right? Like when you think your house is worth this much, yeah, you can't sell it, because if you try to buy another house, it's suddenly going to cost, of similar, it's going to cost you more to do that. So people are kind of stuck in homes, and perhaps that's why we're seeing less housing starts and everything else. Prices are quite high, but people seem to be staying put, I think, is part of it. But as people have less, they're going to want to invest less in risky assets, perhaps like Bitcoin. Like I saw this conjecture taking place where you had someone saying, like, what? It was Victor Cobra, who's been a commenter on Bitcoin markets on that subreddit for a long time, talking about how, Bitcoin isn't really something that's needed in the way that the modern financial rails work. It's speculative for most people. For him, it seems to be the case as well. And if Bitcoin were just to disappear from the markets and everything tomorrow, it wouldn't really change how society runs. And I totally understand that view, right? But what we're talking about here are hedges, right, from inflation. That's why I don't buy into the shiny new coins that have massive inflation. I do look at the tokenomics of things before I take any serious sort of investment into them. That's why I was interested in Bitcoin with its hard cap of 21 million coins. That's why I've been interested in Ethereum as well, which can be quite disinflationary in times of usage. Yeah, that's a whole other thing, Ethereum times of usage. Is a little side note there that, yeah, the gas prices are really, really low right now. A lot of concerns that this push for layer 2 networks for Ethereum to bring down gas cost has made it a situation where you're seeing less fees being paid on layer 1, and that can make the price not go up as much, right? But there's now talks about layer 1 Z snarks, they're called, I believe they are. No, it's not even that. Snarkies, I don't know, they have some fancy name for them, but basically trying to push some of these ideas that were for zero knowledge proofs on layer 2 to instead be there on layer 1, increasing gas limits and so on. So really more of a focus on scaling layer 1 seems to be something based on a developer Ask Me Anything that took place on Reddit that I saw, that is going to be more of a push going forward here. And the value for Ethereum will not be coming from like yeah, it'll become from ETFs and all these other things, but really it's to have this bias-free financial network that anyone can build over, right? And that's exactly what we're seeing. And the more and more of the multitude of these different decentralized applications that work and plug into and through Ethereum will drive value for Ethereum in the long run. Ethereum Foundation apparently only has about 10 years worth of funding with no plans for how to be perpetual after that based on current prices and burn rate. But yeah, a lot of they've been chastised for selling ETH when the ETH that they sell goes to fund development for the long-term health of the Ethereum ecosystem. I do wonder if they do run out of funds, how more decentralized things will become, and maybe that was a plan all along, that kind of development. But so far, I think they've been really great custodians of the network and great voices for the network, and very professional compared to a lot of what you see with these other projects teams. To me, it's quite ridiculous. So yeah, Ethereum would climb in value in this kind of situation. And you see, for example, that kind of building of dApps and this kind of neutral network being adopted by companies even like Ripple. So Ripple had announced that they're going to be creating their Ripple USD stablecoin. It's going to be called ticker RLUSD, and that's going to be launched soon. And it's going to be available on Ripple, of course, but it's also going to be available on Ethereum. So that's what I'm talking about. You see Ethereum with these kinds of use cases being adopted more and more. And if even just a few of these dApps have some sort of massive mainstream or financial adoption, then that could easily drive huge amounts of accrual as well. So there are reasons to be sitting here tight and hodling, right? Got the shirt. But I totally understand these fears around recession that people have. And that's the whole point, is like, it is kind of risky holding these things. But like with Bitcoin, going back to that, it's not just a speculative value, right? If it disappeared tomorrow, yeah, things might not change for everyone, but it will change for certain people who do use Bitcoin for the many reasons. Like, right, you have to take huge amounts of money cross borders for some sort of reason, or transfer for lower fees. You have verifiability because of the blockchain. You have so many things. Traceability, actually, it's almost like the opposite of privacy with Bitcoin, but in a way that can be a good thing, right? Being able to trace funds and track them for transparency reasons and everything else. There are very legitimate reasons to be holding on to this besides just speculation, right? Especially when we're talking about inflation, potentially the Fed being forced to cut here because of these recession fears, right? Causing them to flood more money into the markets, and it's going to want somewhere to be parked. And it's just one of the best assets out there, right? When it comes to that hard-coded limit and everything else that we just talked about. So to me, it's really a no-brainer to hold on to this. You have seen other coins as well perform well over the last week. I saw that Uniswap is up about, I think, 7%. That's not too bad if you've been holding on to Uniswap. And you also have what's the other one that Monero. Monero's actually done quite well recently. Resurgence, at least in price there, over the last 7 days. That one's up around, what is it, like closer to 6%. Monero, but not too bad. So they're not all losers here. The biggest loser was Toncoin that I could see. Telegram coin, you guys probably heard, had taken a huge hit after the CEO was arrested and charged for allowing the wrong kind of messages to proliferate on his encrypted platform and doing nothing about it. So being charged with that dropped the coin quite a bit. But yeah, huge amounts of news everywhere that you look, really. And I do want to catch up more with you guys now that I'm back. I've been traveling. My brother got married. I got COVID. I had to go to the bachelor party. I was best man at the wedding. I had to give a speech. That was really cool. Luckily, I had recovered from COVID. And then unfortunately, my partner's grandmother did the S word, and so we went to stay with her family in Florida for a while during the beginning of the grieving process and all of that. So back home, and I'm eager as ever to get back to this show with you guys. I missed you all so much, and just wanted to give you an update. I am back and ready to cover this journey with you guys, and I'm here for you. I'm still hodling, and I can't wait to see what comes here. I'm someone who still believes that as we move toward the end of the year, we're gonna see much higher prices. So for me, a lot of this is just noise, left and right, and seeing this kind of disinterest because, oh yeah, we already got the ETFs, and what is Bitcoin and what is Ethereum doing? What else can we look forward to? Is so limited because it's stuck in the old paradigm of how finance has worked. When we always started this because we were building something else, right? We're building something new. That's just something to help more people get involved here, understanding what's going on, to empower themselves and free themselves using this new kind of money and these new kinds of tools. And so that mission is still on track and continues to get stronger every day. I thank all of you for being here with me, still for supporting me on Patreon, even though I haven't uploaded in a long time. I'm really sorry about that, guys. But I had to be in the right place here, and I think I'm, like I've said, more than ever excited to be back with you. Take care, everyone. Much love, and stay cryptic from your boy Crypto. Peace.